When I was younger, I used to freaking play my iPad 24/7. Now, I don't think I'm any iPad kid or anything like that, because that's taken on a new meaning nowadays. I was a real OG iPad player. I had all the greats, you know, I had Card Wars on there. I had freaking Bushido Bear. I had King of Thieves. I just had all the good stuff, okay? Battle Cats, anyone? Just saying, because that was a pretty fire game as well. Anyway, one game that I had on my iPad, which kind of took over my life when I was younger, was freaking Growtopia. Now, Growtopia is a really old game, and I also played it a very long time ago. But occasionally, I'll just load it up and see what's going on, you know? I want to check out what's happening to a game that I very much am fond of from when I was a little, booger eater, I suppose. And never have I seen such an example of corporations, blah blah blah, buzzwords, capitalism, money, just ruining something that was so perfect in a way, and so wholesome and like communicative. How do you say that? I don't know, it doesn't really matter anyway, you get the point. So for the sake of my younger self, and for the sake of this game, and maybe even future games, I'm gonna take a look at all of the wrongdoings here. I'm gonna give you a breakdown, and don't even worry if you've never played this game. I'm gonna teach you. You're gonna understand. Okay, don't freaking worry. Now, it's no secret that free mobile games need to make money somehow. This has routinely been done through microtransactions and in-game currency. Now, Growtopia is no stranger to in-game currencies. It forms a basis of a lot of the mechanics in the game, actually. In Growtopia, currency in the form of purchasable items via the official store comes in the form of gems. Incredibly creative, I know. I just can't even believe it. So gems are the official currency of Growtopia, and they let you buy stuff in their store, which has progressively gotten more and more outrageous. It's gotten to the point where there's a Grow Pass. Yes, that's right, there's a Battle Pass in Growtopia. I would like someone to make it make sense. There's just so much random stuff. This whole store page that used to be very streamlined and quite sleek has been bloated with just in your face, just flashy nonsense and crazy deals and money and all this stuff. Now again, I understand you want to make money somehow, so that's not necessarily my problem, but there is some just stupid stuff here. Again, ignoring the battle pass, you've got really weird stuff like the piggy bank, which I don't understand. You've got dungeon passes and scroll value passes. This has always kind of been the case. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Normally, I do believe it was in gems instead of real currency. One thing that Growtopia does well is its gems, at least nowadays, and this will come up later, so keep this in mind, but the price for a gem has significantly gone down. For $2, I can get 70,000 gems plus 7 world locks. We'll talk about that later, but 70,000 gems, that's a high amount.
But if you want to have fun, you gotta have gems. And if you want gems, you can either scoop some up and buy them, which I do frequently. If you buy $10 worth of gems and get 25,000 gems, dude, it's so crazy.
Another weird thing, this might be the strangest to me, is the VIP subscriptions. The VIP subscriptions is a payment of $50 to give you a year of this in quotes subscription, and what this does for you of having this is you get 70 season tokens, no idea, I assume that's to do with the battle pass, 9,000 gems and a world lock every day, along with a bunch of other stuff that I don't want to talk about because it might get confusing because we haven't even got to the part that I want to get to before making any of this make sense. The point is that this is a $50 payment for a year of basically passive income is not the correct term because you've already paid $50. You get the idea though, you get income every day based in gems, but you've paid $50 for an entire year. So a little bit of calculating and math, and basically for 50 USD, you get 3,504,000 gems. This might be the most stupid thing on the entire store. So now that you've seen the store page, you kind of get an understanding. I know we only looked at the stuff that actually costs real money, but obviously the other tabs normally consist of things that you can afford with gems. So the real question we're going to ask ourselves is, how do we get gems? How do we get anything in this game? What even is this game? I'm so confused. Please help. Let me quickly just break it down for you. You're gonna have to ignore the spooky ass freaking Halloween background. I'll explain why I have to do that later, but for now, let's just stay on this. So in Growtopia, you start with the menu and then you type in anything you want into the search bar. Probably something very abstract, because basically what this does is you put in a name and then a world will be generated for you, and that name will be basically the world address. So then that world is complete, it's been made, it's been generated, and now it cannot be regenerated. So once you've made a world, you have your world, it is there, it has its address that you've made, and it is there for you to play in and do what you want. So very similar to Minecraft, you know, the Minecraft brain tells us to punch a freaking rock. Dirt in this case. So let's just break some dirt. We're having fun, we're chilling, we're breaking, and then, oh, what's that? We got a freaking seed. Now what the heck is a seed? Reading the seed, which no one will do, will tell you that it can plant a dirt tree. Plop that pooper down and there it is, you got a little tree. Now if you stand over it, it'll give you a nice timer for how long this is going to take. It's got a little nice countdown, and then we just chill and we just get to watch this thing grow. I'll take this time to address my username. Just ignore it, okay? This account was made 11 years ago. I don't want to hear it, alright? Let's just move on. Once your dirt tree is finished growing, you're able to punch it, break it, and you can see a little gem pops out, and that's one gem in the storage. Now, gems and how you get them isn't as one-dimensional as just making a tree and then punching it. There's many ways you can do it. Those are the primary ways though, but you can also get it from blocks in general. When you break a block, you have 4 potential options, technically 5, but we're not going to talk about that. The first thing you can do is get absolutely nothing, okay? You don't get anything. That's going to happen most of the time. Now, there is a thing where specific blocks have certain rarities and then we'll give you back certain stuff, but we'll get to that in a second. Point is, you can get nothing from breaking a block. The next thing you can get is the block back in return. You just get the block back. The third is the seed that we've had a look at, which gives you a seed of the block, which allows you to multiply the block. The fourth thing you can get is a gem, and a gem and how many you get relates to the rarity of the block. So for like dirt, since the rarity is like 0 or 1, you're only ever going to get 1, and that's very rare that you're even going to get 1. And then the fifth option is like some weird random item that they sometimes give out. I really don't understand the reason for that, but kind of cool, I suppose. So after we've dug out this little area, we've got a couple of dirt seeds. Why not let's just break these walls, because, you know, it's kind of got the 2D thing, so we can break the walls a little bit like Terraria, but like not at all like Terraria, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, so let's just break these walls. There's nothing really to it. I don't want to see this ugly ass background. I know this cool spooky ass mansion in the background. But similarly to blocks, walls work the exact same way. You can get seeds, you can get blocks, you can gems as well. So as you can see from breaking those, we got a cave background seed. Now perhaps you're getting a little bit bored of placing these down, so why not try putting them together? So this is an introduction to the splicing mechanic, which is basically how you make every item in Growtopia, really. Almost all seeds can be mixed with another seed. This kind of works like that one web game where you just put a bunch of stuff together and it keeps making things, and then you put the previous stuff with more stuff. That also works here in Growtopia, and that's how you get, honestly, like almost every item in the game. They take it to like a completely different level of random stuff you can get from growing seeds. For example, there's wings in the game. They're like one of the most important things to get as a player. You kind of, the first thing you work towards is getting wings as a character. You can grow wings. I mean, it's like the most convoluted, confusing recipe ever, but you can do it. Now, on these trees, you can actually see though, if we hover over them, some of them are taking longer than others. And this is because the more rare or the more spliced something is, the longer it's just going to take. Now, this isn't Little Inferno. You can't just get some freaking coupons from doing quests and then purchase the grow time down. In Growtopia, you have to use spray fertilizers, which are honestly so terrible. For 200 gems, you can get 5 sprays that age the tree by 1 hour. You don't even know how bad that is. But if you want to splash a little bit more money, you can get 1 deluxe spray for 900, which ages a tree by 24 hours, which says it's around 25 times as much as a regular grow spray, but that literally makes no sense. So put simply, there's no skipping this. It's fundamentally how the game works. If you have 1 billion gems, sure, you could buy like 1,000 of these deluxe grow sprays, but there's no point. Now, when I was filming this, a player came in and he kind of scoped me out and went invisible, and we were kind of doing a little drip competition. That happens, but what's more important is that the player was able to enter to begin with. So whenever someone joins, they're able to enter your world and basically do whatever they want, because the world has no owner. You just put in the name for it. So the first thing you want to do is you want to lock your world. Now, you're not going to be able to outright buy a world lock because they're like 2,000 gems, but you can get a small lock. This is what you do. You start a game, you've farm for 50 gems. It takes like 40 hours, and then you get a small lock. You're able to place it and then lock your world. So how locks work is basically they give you ownership over a specific area. As you can see, it's encompassed in this nice green dotted shape, and basically no one except from the person that owns the lock can break those blocks. So as you can see, this lock actually freezes this entire world. While it's only 50, this gives you ownership over the world. Technically not. You're just locking the front door so no one can get in. So you don't own the entire world. You technically only own that portion, but because of where it's placed and the strategy of it, it makes it so no players can enter in. So what if we do want to own the entire world and we don't want to have this weird lock at the front? Well, that's where the world lock comes in. So for 2,000 gems, you get to put this nice fancy gold lock down, and you own the entire world. Everything belongs to you, and it's really good. It's a good, yeah, I mean, who doesn't want to own an entire world? World locks can have extra people added to them to give command over them. Anyone can be added to it, and that gives them, you know, temporary ownership so they can break blocks and stuff. Obviously, they still cannot break the world lock. The world lock can only be broken by the owner. Ownership can be swapped via using the key. You can get the key from it. There's a very in-depth system into security within world locks and the world they own. So the thing that makes this interesting is that gems cannot be traded via players. There's no way to trade gems between players. Now, a big part of Growtopia is the trading. It's all about, you know, getting blocks, getting items and stuff. The whole of Growtopia is based around trading and the trading community. So as a substitute to not being able to use gems, world locks became the currency of Growtopia. It's one of the most unique things I've ever seen. I mean, I've not played that many of these types of games, but I've really never seen like an item that is used for ownership of the world become the currency, but it is its own unique currency. I don't know if this was ever intentionally planned by the developers. I really don't think so. This seems like something that has just become part of how the game is played. And yeah, I love it. I mean, it's a really cool system of being able to use world locks as currency, and they just got a vibe to them that makes them seem like they're valuable. So everything you see in the game when you go to trading worlds or vending worlds, anything like that, all of the pricing of stuff is priced in world locks, which then you can obviously technically do the math if you want to the gems to the, you know, real life money value, but it's not the whole point doing that. But the primary thing to take away from this is that 1, world locks are the in-game currency. They're expensive. 2, you can get them naturally in the game by collecting gems and doing what is called farming, basically, which means getting really valuable blocks over time. And then they have a greater return for the gems and the seeds and all that stuff. You just get a much greater return. And 3, that it takes a lot of time if you're coming from scratch. Now, what you may have realized is that, as I said, world locks can be obtained via the game naturally. You can get to that point, you can get gems naturally. It works in that way. When I was saying before about the fact that it's strange that stuff like the dungeon pass and the scrolls or whatever cost real life money, I believe this is the reason for that, because that makes it so players cannot naturally get these things. Normally it would make sense that if you had a feature like this dungeon pass, you would want to make it so players can get it through the game naturally, because you can farm gems, then you can buy it, which I think is again how a lot of the stuff used to be. But this is a kind of scummy thing to do where they make it so you have to pay the money value so they get money from it, instead of making it so anyone can access it and get this pass by using, you know, the stuff that you grow naturally in the game and get the currency from within the game. But I hope that wasn't too confusing. I hope you get the idea of how this game runs and works. I'm going to leave a world lock in this world for anyone watching this video who wants to get it. I'm just going to put it in the corner here, just a nice little hidden tree. I don't know if someone's going to get it before. The world name, by the way, is Fart Fart I Gotta Go, so make sure you remember that and go pick up a free world lock. Why not? My next topic I want to talk about is ads, because this might be, in my opinion, one of the most outrageous things to happen. So it's important that we actually just take a step back for a second, and because I said at the start of this game, obviously it's become very strange and distant from what initial values I think were important to it, and this doesn't happen for no reason. As you probably may have expected, this game was bought by a company, and then they took it and basically, you know, flushed out any of that initial joy factor and just made it what it is today. That company was Ubisoft, so you just know it's shit already. Pardon my French. So again, one of the most outrageous things that they have added to Growtopia is that adverts are now a thing in Growtopia. As you can see here, they're in the form of billboards. In the background of the world, there's a freaking plane carrying like an iPad with the Growtopia ad. I don't understand this as well. This is also important. So I've played this game a couple times since they added this feature, and I've only ever seen Growtopia be shown as the ad. So I don't understand what they're advertising, was what I initially thought, until I kept playing for a little bit longer this time and found out that freaking advertising the Electoral Commission. 1st of May, polling day, bring photo IDs. Why am I playing a video game and I'm getting an advertisement to make sure that I vote? I don't want to see any political thing anywhere in my entire life, to be honest, let alone when I'm trying to just play a video game. It's just so distant and like depressing and unhuman. I don't know how to explain the feeling I get when I see this, because I'm in this game where I'm just trying to chill and play on this weird little dude on this, you know, very cartoony, very kid-friendly game, and I'm just getting advertised to freaking bring my photo ID so I can vote for some shit politician. Like, I don't, and it might just be to me like the saddest thing in existence. I went on the world trade. Now, if any of you have played Growtopia, then you know what trade is. It was at one point the biggest world in the game completely. There were, you know, hundreds of people on this one thing. You can't have hundreds of people, that's a lie, but there was the max out. It was one of those things where you couldn't join because it was so full of players. You had to wait, and I joined it and no one is here. It's completely empty. It's such an eerie vibe, and then this freaking ad is on the background. It might be the most depressing and like encapsulating thing of the point I'm trying to make here, is that what is even happened to this game that I can join the biggest trade world, no one be here, and I'm just getting blasted this absolutely just terrible ad. I'll give Ubisoft the benefit of the doubt here, because I created an extra character for this video, and when you load up Growtopia for the first time on an account, it asks you to enter your age. Now on this account I'm playing on in this video, I obviously have put in that I'm like 900 years old, so it makes sense to give me this advert. But if you are under the age, I think I put in like 7 or 12 or something like that, you do not get these ads. So I tested it, so you don't get this specific ad. I don't know if you get other ads. I'm not going to stay around to figure out. Again, this is the only ad I've ever seen, but I haven't played this game 24/7 and just like consistently or anything like that. Another quick issue we'll talk about, and it plagues every game ever from a bygone age, is bots. They're all bots. Holy fuck, have you seen the car?
Yeah.
You've definitely seen them before if you've played at any point. This is the new Start World. Now again, I could go on about how I don't know why there's a new Start World. Again, Growtopia players here watching this remember the original Start World. I guess they just left it, because every time you type in Start, it will route you to Start 2, which is obviously the new version. I mean, it makes sense, new vamped look, I suppose, whatever, but you kind of got rid of the original one. I don't think it's joinable at all anymore, so that's slightly depressing. But what makes it worse is that this entire area is just filled with bots at the start, and bots, all they do is they just spam a wall of text, colors, and you can't even read it, so I don't understand the point. But I guess they're just advertising worlds to go to and certain items and all this stuff. So yeah, I mean, it happens to the best of games. I don't know how you can stop it. I don't know. I'm not here to tell you how to do it. It's just obviously an issue, and clearly there's not that big of a rush to fix it. We're just adding, you know, Assassin's Creed Ubisoft official packs for some reason. Now, I want to give you a little bit of a story time here, because this is an important part of the game. Now, as I have said, I was a very young individual when I started playing this game, and as a young individual, you are very gullible to things. Now, Growtopia might be the most scam-heavy game that I've ever played. Well, it is the most scam-heavy game I've personally ever played. There were so many scams and, in quotes, games that would work. The most popular of which was the drop game. Now, I'm not going to go over every single scam that exists in Growtopia, because there are literally thousands. I think the good thing is not many of them work anymore. Even gambling got banned, like, in quotes, legal gambling, which is where you would use a roulette wheel and then you just, whoever gets the higher number wins. But drop game was the most notorious, the most infamous, and the most common, I believe, back when I was playing. So how does a drop game work? I'm going to open up a world here and I'm going to demonstrate the drop game with my special alt character, the Nefarious Goober 2. Now, Nefarious Goober here, he's ready to play a freaking drop game. So I'm going to make this little contraption and then I'm going to pull him into the chamber. If you own the world lock of the world you're in, you have a couple of admin commands, basically, you can use. If you use the spanner instead of the fist on a player, you can get this list of things you can do with the player. You can pull them, which basically means to teleport them to where you are. You can kick them, you can ban them. All this great stuff. It's super good for keeping the world monitored correctly and stuff, but it can be used to enact a scam like this. So once pulling Nefarious Goober into the box, teleporting him in, he's now locked in here. And basically what happens is the host of the game will tell the players to drop. Imagine there's more, there's only one, but you get the idea. So how the game works is that all the players will drop an item of specific value, and the idea is whoever drops the highest value item wins the game. So this gets down, it gets riddled down until there are only a couple players, and then basically what happens is the players drop these valuable items, and then the host will ban them from the world as soon as the item leaves their inventory. That means the player that dropped the item cannot join back, but the item is still there, so the host just has to drop down, pick up the item, and then they win. So that's the premise of the drop game, and I know the system pretty in and out because my gullible ass fell for a drop scam. I was there with my friend. I must have been like 12, 13 at the time, and I'm stressing because I got these ripple wings which are worth like 1 world lock, and this guy's offering me 2 world locks to drop them, and I'm like, this doesn't make any sense, but like the chance that it does make sense was so enticing to me that I just had to drop the wings. Obviously I got banned and then I lost my wings, and I basically cried into my pillow. Well, no, that didn't happen, but I was pretty depressed after, and I was like, god damn it, well at least I got my world. I got my initial world that existed from, you know, since I started playing the game. I got a world lock for it. It was called Greenland. OG ass freaking address. You can only get that if you're a real player. So I had this epic world, and I'm like, at least I still got this. But you know, 3 weeks later, I'm like, you know, maybe I actually need 1,000,000 gems. Let me go on a website and type in my full username and password. As you can imagine, my account got stolen. The world got absolutely ruined. But I did get my account back in like 2 hours. So you know what? Good on original Growtopia dev team for getting my account. So kind of for the sake of testing how things work, I wanted to make a little giveaway in this world here in Jhyun's world. Now to normally do this, you would broadcast out a message and that sends it to the entire world chat, and then people type in /go and it will take you automatically to the most recent. So you normally get a lot of people joining the world, especially if it's a giveaway. Now back in the day, if you did a broadcast and you were like free world lock giveaway, your entire game would be full in like 5 seconds. Again, I'm trying to really make clear the importance and the value of just 1 world lock, because it will be important for a later topic. So I do it, I run the giveaway. It costs 6,000 gems, by the way. Again, technically not that much now, but still outrageous. And 1 person joins. Nefarious Goober 2 is obviously me. So this guy joins. No one else joins. He even himself is in just absolute shock.
This game is so empty.
So I'm kind of depressed. I just farmed like all of my fucking gems and all of my farms so I could get a broadcast, and then this only guy comes, so I just give it to him. I set the door to public or whatever. He just runs, gets the world locks. It doesn't really bother me, more to the point that I'm just like confused about how this is even possible. Like, what is going on? So we need to take a look at the shopping scene. So here I go into X Buy Wing or whatever the hell it is. They're all the same, and you can see this huge lobby is still full. So trading and the trading, you know, community and stuff does exist. It's good to see. There's all this crazy stuff going on. People are still being crazy. However, there's always been this weird thing with vending machines. So vending machines are a way of buying items without having to have a player. Basically, the vending machine is filled with the item, and then they set a price. You interact with it, exchange world locks for said item, however many it is, and then you get the item. The problem is there's a huge gap in the actual price and then the price on vending machines. For some strange reason, the vending machines receive a markup of like 100%. So for example, here I check out the silk scarf and it's worth 25 to 30 world locks. This is on the board, so this is the actual trade price considered for this item is 20 to 30 world locks. So if that's the actual price of the item, on the vending machine it says 75 world locks. See, it doesn't really make any sense why this is so expensive, and all it does is create confusion in how much the actual price of an item is. I personally don't know. I mean, I maybe might have known back in the day a rough estimate of how much stuff should be. Nowadays I have no idea. It's not made any easier. Vending machines just give you a completely false price, and then you like try haggle your way, and it seems like, me personally, I just don't get what's going on. I've tried to trade a couple times since, you know, I stopped playing, you know, 8 years ago or whatever, and every time I felt like I was either getting scammed out of a bad deal or I just wasn't understanding something. So to me, something was wrong. Now, to take things back, obviously I did that giveaway and only one person appeared when I did a 6,000 gem broadcast. Now, if you remember, even earlier than that, we did a drop game demonstration. This world was called I'm Doing Drop Game, You Can't, and I was gonna you can't stop me, but obviously that's not possible, too long of a name. But from this world, I got the most people joining. I didn't broadcast, and I think 5 people joined at one point, and it was so bizarre to me. I met this person called Potato Party Club, and I think they gave me the insight I needed to fully understand what was going on. The basis of my discovery is that I'm just an old git. I got questioned on why I'm such a low level with 11 years on my account, which obviously I just said that most of the systems for leveling up didn't even exist when I played the game, and I think that's true. Plus, I was also like 5 years old, so like, what am I even supposed to do? I consulted my new formed group of individuals on the fact that I did a broadcast and got less people than just making a world using the name Drop Game. And Potato shed some light on the situation that doing broadcast just doesn't do anything anymore, which makes sense because this game has just changed in such a way. I thought initially it was because there were so many bots, but that isn't even the case. People just don't go to worlds anymore. It doesn't make any sense. Potato said that there's a ban wave. I don't really know what that is referring to, but this is interesting though. I put down a world lock. This guy runs over it, picks it up, and then drops it. This is, to me, the craziest thing in existence. The fact that I can put this world lock and no one wants it. It's like considered trash. On my life, back in the day, if you dropped this, all of these people would have been scrambling on the ground to try get it. And here is really the nail in the coffin for me. Potato given the light again. 1 world lock in 2025 is like 10 diamond locks in 2015. That's also like the wrong way around, but I get the point they're trying to make. It's just shown that world locks don't mean anything anymore. Why this is the case, I really don't know. I think there's some, and I think you can rationalize this change again with the idea that Ubisoft just wanted to make profit off this game. Again, world locks were expensive, but you were able to get them reasonably with in-game farming. Sure, 2,000 gems took a long time to acquire, but it was still possible, and if you had a good farm, that was not really that big of a problem, which again meant that items costed less world locks because world locks were more expensive because they related to the actual real world money. So you could get, again, you could get some really cool wings for like 20 world locks. Now you seriously have to spend like 500 diamond locks to get these stupidly over the top wings. And again, that makes it an unobtainable thing for someone that is using farming. I don't even think farming is a thing anymore in this game, to be honest, because what purpose does it serve? You can get a couple thousand gems, which again, yeah, back in the day would have been worth something because you could exchange 2,000 to a world lock and a world lock would actually buy you something. But instead, what they did was they changed the real world price of gems, made it so you could get a crap ton for a small amount of money. Again, $2 for, what was it, like 40,000, 70,000? I don't remember, doesn't really matter. The point is you could get so many world locks. You even got extra world locks with it, therefore decreasing the price of the world lock, which was the thing that was easy to obtain, or at least doable to obtain. Getting a diamond lock from farming? Are you kidding me? That'd take like 5,000 years. It's just unfair on the player, and it forces you into paying out money. In conclusion, it's a depressing fall from grace. This game was once just awesome. It was so much fun to play. I can still see that shred of light, especially at the end here where I was playing the drop game and actually got to talk to some people and we were just chilling in this world. But I feel like it's just been so overdone by wild cosmetics, the need for money, this weird disconnect between rich and poor players, which in fairness did exist, but it seems like it's more of an aggressive thing now. Again, I found a dice game and they were giving away a diamond lock. Now, I don't think you understand how ridiculous that is. A diamond... Again, 11 years ago, you could just run that game with regular world locks and you'd have literally every single person playing the game in your world. And now we're doing it with diamond locks? It's just ridiculous. It's crazy to me. To me, this game has just lost its spark. If that wasn't painfully obvious by the voting ads in the background and the constant bombardment of pricing and money in your face, I don't know what to tell you. However, instead of being sad about this, I think there's a great lesson to this whole story. Obviously, there might be some people watching this where they don't get this. They were like, back in my day, I was slamming Red Bulls and playing Quake on my MS-DOS, or I don't think it was on that, but you know, and that was your childhood, and maybe now you look at it and there's like some weird stuff, you can't play it, games aren't even made that way anymore, and it can be depressing to see that, especially nowadays when games have just become so weird and, to plainly put it, quite shit. But again, instead of being sad about this, instead of looking back on my time playing Growtopia and being like, damn, what the heck even happened to this game, I think there's something to being happy that you got to experience it in the first place. I don't even think this game would be the same to me if it was identical, just because I had gotten older. And again, it isn't a bad thing. It means I can make those types of memories with different experiences, different games, and different people. So instead of being sad that it's over, let's just be happy that it happened.